Where do we begin? Where do we begin? Well, actually, it's kind of simple. We start with the defensive side of the football because that was truly embarrassing. This Eagles football team just got brutally abused by the Minnesota Vikings in Minnesota. They fall 38-20. Yes, there was a moment in this game where the Eagles had a little bit of a surge and they fought back. I'm sick and tired of that. 0 points in the first quarter. You're down more than 10 points at one point in this game, once again. I mean, that's a common theme with this football team. We continue to go down at least 10-plus points a game. How are you supposed to have realistic expectations when that continues to happen week after week? Yes, there was a moment in this game where we made it close and we had momentum, but I'm not satisfied with that anymore. I'm not satisfied with the fight back of this football team. I sit there and I do know that it will come at some point because that is their MO, but I'm not okay with that constantly. We need to figure it the hell out. But let's start with the defense, right? Let's start with the defense. And before we do, remember, I can give you free money. Use the promo code BRODES for $20 off of your SeatGeek's total purchase. Get yourself to a game soon. Use it. Use the $20. It'll make you feel better after watching that crap. So this defense, I figured we would actually hold Dalvin Cook to a reasonable number. I thought that was a realistic thing, honestly. And we did. When you take a look at what Cook had, 16 carries, 41 yards, 2.6 yards per carry. They did a really good job. Madison had one breakout run there kind of later in the game, which boosted his stats up. But all around, I thought we did a good job defending the run. The problem was, and we knew this going into the football game, we have a secondary and we have cornerbacks that should not be playing in the NFL. Sadly, one of them we drafted in the second round. Sidney Jones. Oh, Sidney Jones. He can't play in the XFL. He can't play in the AAF. He can't play football. The kid cannot play football. He got abused all game long. And guess what? So did Rasul Douglas. Rasul Douglas with an embarrassing football game. Diggs got by him 3,784 different times. I was afraid that Kirk Cousins was going to feast. This offensive line for the Vikings, you can argue they're just as pathetic as the Jets' offensive line. That's hard to be, but you could argue that they're at that level. We couldn't really get to the quarterback. We had Kirk Cousins on the run making plays happen. You're going nowhere with a defense like this. See, everyone's screaming at Jim Schwartz, and that's so comical to me. I'm the first one to go in that direction normally, but that's an easy person to blame. Jim Schwartz is doing everything he possibly can. Oh, he's so stubborn, all these fans are saying. He won't change anything. What do you mean he won't change anything? He's blitzed more times this year than his entire career because he has no other damn options. No defensive coordinator would win football games with what they have back there. We had to sit Sidney Jones for Craig James. How am I supposed to yell at Jim Schwartz when his two options at cornerback on that side is Sidney Jones and Craig James? You want to start talking about getting secondary help over the top? Fine, but then guess what happens? That affects other parts of your defense. So then when a run breaks through and ends up breaking through the middle, where's someone there? Well, we had to move that secondary player to go help your corner. And what's your argument going to be? Well, you can't give up the big plays. You'll live with those. You can't give up the big plays. Yeah, well, when they consistently keep banging it and throwing it down your throat, running the ball and finding other holes, or not even just running the ball, but finding things underneath that are wide open because you're putting secondary help up top, then you'll be complaining that the middle is wide open. We don't have the talent back there. That's what it comes down to. I used to rip into Jim Schwartz 3,000 times a day over the last few years. Here I'm sitting here watching and saying, damn, how do we have 3 wins? How did we win 3 of 6 football games with what we have in that secondary? That's how I think now. I'm almost praising him for us having 3 wins. Nigel Bradham goes down in this game, which is going to hurt. Zach Brown talking trash about Kirk Cousins. Now, he's not wrong. He's not wrong with saying Kirk Cousins is the issue with that offense and he's the worst part of that offense. He's not wrong. But you can't talk trash like that knowing that we have the worst pass defense in football. You can't. Why would you say that? If we had the number one pass defense in football, then you talk trash. Then you back it up. But when you know you don't have the talent to back it up, talking the trash is just stupid. It makes you look dumb. No one had a good football game. Doug Pederson with a total... I'm going to go as far as saying disrespectful game as a head coach to the fans. Like, it was disrespectful to me. I was disrespected. That field goal, that fake field goal at the end of the first half, that's moronic. There's a difference between aggressive and moronic. That just made no sense. We got abused all first half long. We can make it 24-13 at half. Absolutely, I would take that. And we get the ball back to start the second half. But no, he gives the ball to Jake Elliot to make a throw. Don't tell me that's aggressive. That's dumb. If you were to go for it, which I also think is stupid in that situation, understanding that we had no business being involved in the game, grab your points on the road and let's go into the half. Even if you're going to go for it, you put the ball in Carson Wentz's hand. You do. You put it in your playmaker's hand. He's really our only playmaker. No one else can step the hell up. Miles Sanders catching the ball out of the backfield is our best offensive weapon. That is an issue. That is an issue. When Miles Sanders is your biggest playmaker. Alshon, he's so limited, right? You can tell by his speed and the way he's running. He's so banged up, but he's fighting through it. I'm sick and tired going back to Doug Pederson to these screen passes to Alshon Jeffrey, where he's throwing it essentially right into the defense. That's just terrible. It's terrible calls. Also, there was a time when it was 3rd and short. And it was at a spot where you kind of thought Doug Pederson would go for it. Why not run the ball there? We didn't end up executing on 3rd and short, and we went for it on 4th. If you know you're going to go for it on 4th, and I believe it was 3rd and 2, run the football. See what you can get. If you know you're going to go for it on 4th down, why not draw up a good play call where you can get some yards? I don't know. Doug was really bad today. I mean, you can argue this is one of Doug's worst games ever. Overthinking. I mean, you beat yourself at times. And that field goal play just describes it. But once again, no one played good. I don't think anyone played good. Carson, he battled. He was involved. There were moments in this game where he had splashes, like that one touchdown play where he's moving around in the pocket. He's making it happen. He throws kind of across his body somewhat to Alshon for the touchdown. That was super nice. There was a play to Alshon Jeffrey on the sidelines, which really got us going during that stretch where we had a little bit of buzz. What else was there? There were some good plays where he's avoiding a sack, and we could have lost 10 yards, but we end up gaining, even though it was just 3 yards, just the fact that we didn't lose 10 on a sack because he escapes the sack and makes a play, things like that. But he also missed a ton. Now I go to our skill players and say, they are terrible. Oh, man, they're not helping him whatsoever. The offense as a whole was bad. The defense as a whole was bad. The coaching staff, Doug Pederson, might grow bad as well. And like I said, Jim Schwartz, I somewhat give him a free pass because when you don't have NFL talent, how are you supposed to win football games? You really don't. When you can't get pressure, so you're not getting pressure with your defensive ends and your defensive line, and you don't have cornerbacks that can play, how do you win the football game? But listen, everyone does have some impact on this game for the negative, all right? Everyone does deserve criticism. Zach Ertz, whew, talk about a bad football game. Nelson Aguilar, this guy can't track balls. We tried it so many times to go deep. He's looking around. He can't track the ball. He can't see the ball or something. I mean, that's your job as a wide receiver. Track the football. Now, the Vikings thrived with some misdirection stuff. They were able to create a lot of space, having our defense go one way, coming back the other. There was one play, though, that really stood out to me and kind of defines the way this defense played. Diggs had the ball on like a reverse, a misdirection type play, and he's pretending to throw it, and he's high-stepping. It looked like he was playing backyard football. The defense just gave up. Half the D kind of went towards the sideline. The other guys, the linebackers, kind of just trotting around. They just gave up, and he ended up making this play where he had positive yards. It just described how we played. There was no flow in the offense, realistically, except for a couple drives here and there. But once again, this is a long football game. It's not about here and there. It's about putting it all together and really having a game plan and having an offense that can move downfield. And the defense got abused left and right. Big plays, 60-plus yard touchdowns. Sometimes it was on one play, bang, instantly, bang. 2 plays, bang, touchdown. Rasul Douglas, waxed. See, everyone kind of fell in love with Douglas, and I've been a firm believer in he's not the worst thing in the world, okay? I'm not going to go as far as that. He's not as bad as Sidney Jones, Craig James, and players like that, but he looks better because we have no other option. Oh, Rasul Douglas can play. Yeah, I mean, he can hang in there here and there, but you're saying that because we have no one else capable. So he looks better. Stefon Diggs went to town on this guy, and it wasn't even close. He was easily open by 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90 yards. It was that bad. We had Kirk Cousins looking like a Hall of Famer. Kirk Cousins literally demolished our football team. 333 yards, 4 touchdowns. He did throw 1 interception, but it was a fluke one. It hit off Diggs' hands, and Sendejo, of all people, picked it off. That's where we had some rhythm. But, of course, Doug Pederson elected to kill that rhythm because he wanted to have Jake Elliot throw the football. Man, that was a moronic decision. And here we go. We're on this 3-game skid, this 3-game road skid, and we got a big, fat 0-1 record to start with Dallas on the schedule next, with Buffalo on the schedule after that. And I came to conclusion a little bit ago that, and it was during this Atlanta Falcons-Lions kind of run that we had there, that this team isn't that good, right? They're not that good. You can't win championships and make runs with the defense that we have, so it kind of lowered my expectations a bit. We are just going to have inconsistent football. One week they're going to look better than the last week. One week the offense will look good, the defense will get abused. One week the defense will look good, but the offense will stall. It's just going to be that type of year. It's just obvious to me. I don't know how this team is going to get it together. We don't have enough. And it comes down to the roster being flawed. And then you can look at Howie Roseman and say, okay, well, what do we have here? Because Howie is a magician in terms of cap. Is he a magician in terms of understanding talent? Andre Dillard got thrown into the fire today because Jason Peters got hurt. He had some moments where he struggled, and yeah, that's going to happen. Or a rookie left tackle getting thrown in against this Minnesota Vikings defensive front. Yeah, it's going to happen. He struggled, though. J.J. Arcega-Whiteside, once again, still cannot get on this field when we don't have playmakers. That scares me. Sidney Jones was arguably the worst pick we've ever had. Guy should be cut. He should be cut. He should not be playing. We sat him for Craig James. Sidney Jones should not be playing football in the NFL. The team isn't good enough. Don't give me Deshaun Jackson's going to come back and make this offense splash, because that's not reality. Here's why. The guy's literally not getting surgery so he can play. He has something wrong with him where he needs surgery and he's not getting it so he can try and find a way to play. You think he's just going to come back and run and torch all these guys left and right? I mean, I hope so, but I'm not putting optimism into that. I wonder what Jason Peters' injury is going to be like moving forward. We knew that he was going to struggle. We knew he wasn't going to play every single game, but Andre Dillard had to step in, and he had some tough moments. The offensive line had some tough moments at a whole. There was a crucial 3rd and 4. We had to delay a game because we didn't snap the ball. Carson Wentz is clearly frustrated. It becomes 3rd and 9. They bring out this blitz. Jordan Howard gets a little lost. Carson Wentz gets blown up in 3 seconds, and he's throwing his helmet on the sideline. And listen, people might want to rip into Carson Wentz for showing frustration or whatnot, but Carson Wentz is a gamer at the end of the day. Like, he's going to give you 500%. He's not going to give up. I'm okay with him showing frustration. Tom Brady's on the sideline showing frustration. No one ever has problems with that when he fires his team up. The Eagles weren't able to get fired up and come back because it was such a big gap at that time, but it is what it is. Carson did throw an interception, but we were down 18. We were in our own, within 10 yards of our own end zone, and he's trying to make something happen, and he forced it. But, it is what it is. The kid at that point is just trying to make something happen and then throwing the ball downfield. But there was no flow to the offense. The defense got abused to an insane degree by a guy who gets made fun of in this league. so much. And I even stated this, though, on my preview video for Eagles-Vikings. Kirk Cousins gets ripped apart because of this, right? Because of the money that he got paid. He's not good. I'm not going as far as he's good, but he's not as bad as people say. If it's open, he'll hit it for the most part. There were times where he left plays out there. Rasul Douglas got torched by Stefon Diggs, which could have been another touchdown, and he overthrew it by a little bit. And it's not like Kirk Cousins is perfect when he has wide open throws. I'm not going to that degree, but he can hurt you. If you have the worst defense in the league when it comes to stopping the pass, he can hurt you. And we did the right thing, stop the run, stop what they do best, and force them to throw. The problem is, we couldn't stop it, because we don't have capable corners. But you can't let the run game happen and then stop them from throwing the ball. That's not the right way to do this. You win football games by establishing the run. But we do need to get more pressure. That can't go unnoticed. I think everyone deserves a little bit of blame here because there's just no flow in this football team. Very inconsistent in every single spot on the team. There's nothing that's consistent. All right, well, clearly it's disappointing. Clearly we're going to have more time to let this digest. This is the instant reaction and how I feel. I guess I'm putting it in that category of disappointed. It's when your parents talk to you and say, oh, I'm not mad at you, I'm disappointed. I'm just disappointed. And it starts with Doug Pederson because, like I said, I believe that this is one of his worst games I have seen him coach since he's been here in Philadelphia. You can't not take the points there. Seriously, I get being aggressive and trying to make it a 9-point game when you have control of the football game. You look good. You're being the one putting the foot on the gas pedal. In that moment, we need to find a way to grab some points because we were getting demolished all first half long. We have a chance to make it an 11-point game going into half, and you have your kicker trying to throw a first down pass. It just doesn't make sense, and I don't like the fact that, whoa, he did the Philly and you loved it, and he makes this play happen and that play happen and you loved it. So if he made that work, you would have said he was a genius. No. I look at plays as if, is it the right play? That's what I always ask myself. I do the same thing when I'm betting. If I end up losing, like for example, the Dodgers losing Game 5 to the Nationals, I lost money on that, right? But I bet the Dodgers. That was the right choice, all right? The Nats won the game and they squeaked it out and it was insane. Clayton Kershaw blew the game up and all that. The right bet was the Dodgers. You just got unlucky, right? The right play there, whether it worked or not, was to kick the field goal. So if it did work and Elliot did make the play, it doesn't mean it's the right play. It just was lucky in that moment. It was the wrong play, all right? It's as simple as that. What I'm getting to here is it was the wrong play. And Doug needs to look himself in the mirror and say, I have to be better. It starts with me. He already doubled down on it and said, well, I would do that again. I would do that again in a heartbeat in that situation. Of course he's going to say that. That's what all these football coaches do, right? They back up their answer and they support their own decisions. But, I'll tell you what, this was bad. Seth Joyner on the postgame show tried blaming the preseason. Well, this is why you played preseason. Look around the league. Everyone who played preseason, their quarterbacks are playing well. Carson Wentz is missing throws, and this offense isn't clicking because they didn't play preseason. Are you serious, Seth Joyner? Come on. I mean, I know the guy's very well respected and knows a lot about the game, but what? What? So, at one point in this game, remember, the Eagles had the momentum, and it looked like we were going to actually come back and win this game, and it was close. And then it blew up insanely because the defense allowed a drive. And the Vikings put these drives together, and the defense couldn't get any stops. And that's ultimately what ruined this football game from the jump, was how bad these defensive players played and how they're unreliable. They're unreliable. We're all waiting here for Jalen Mills. And guess what? Before you sit there and say, I can't wait to get Jalen Mills back, just wait. You think he's coming back and he's going to be a shutdown corner? Hell no. He got beat by the double move a million times. We all booed him and freaked out and didn't want him here. Is he better? Yeah, maybe, but he hasn't played football in so damn long. You're going to sit here and wait for Jalen Mills to be the savior? Boy, we're in trouble if that's the answer. All right, well, listen, here we are. Here's the instant reaction. Thank you guys so much for listening, and we will obviously be discussing more of this game as the week goes on. Thank you guys so much once again. and I'll see you on the next one.